I think it's working.
Are we here?
Maybe.
Is it there?
Isn't what I wanted it to look like.
Nat White's here. Hello, sir.
Matt White, Javier, my favorite peoples, and Matt and Javier. Hey, that's better. I don't have to worry about like bopping off of the screen. Oh, Monsieur Becker is here.
A hello, chaps, from Chappie himself.
Caleb, hello, good sir. Oh, excuse me. All right. So, 12 December live chat sponsored by Rock God Brewing Company. They didn't even know they were sponsoring tonight.
It's been a bit of a gap since they've been a sponsor.
Well, it has been 366 days of sobriety for me. Not that I haven't really been like a sober person anyway. Well, since the Navy days.
I would say it's not 366 days of sobriety. It's 366 days of temperance.
But that could be,
lips that touch alcohol shall not touch mine. Or you're a teetotaler for the last year.
I was indeed. And now I'm not. So that is hot apple cider with some pirate rum in it. That's Pyrat.
Now, is that the first drink you've had? That one in your hand? Or
this one in my hand is the first one since your house, the 12th of December last year.
Where I tempted you.
He did. Crystal, hello. Adam, hello. Who else we got? Turtle, hello, sir. All right. So I'm also recovering from the bubonic plague. So I'll have some of these fancy Ricola honey cough drops. This is where, if anybody out there remembers the Ricola commercials with the guy that like sang in the Austrian Valley or whatever, feel free. I'm not gonna. All right, Uncle Guns, hello. Lots of cool stuff to talk about today. Or some stuff to talk about today. I don't know if any of it's cool. But some subjects popped up on the interwebs, and Colt, yeah, I heard you got it too. Fucking Jim.
That fucking Jim guy.
Crystal remembers the commercial.
Ricola.
There it is. A couple questions popped up in the last couple weeks because I missed a couple weeks because of traveling. When I got the bubonic plague, there was a drunk hobo and his pit bull in the middle of a force on force class and all that kind of stuff. That's what you miss when you don't come to Texas to train. We got a couple news things to discuss and mostly kind of wrapping up the training year. We did our last class. Mike and I taught Saturday for a fish workshop. And that was the end. That was it for 2023 for teachering. And I know for myself, it is also the end of the takering of classes for 2023. What about you, sir?
Well, I was supposed to be in a class that same weekend. A very cool super secret squirrel medical class out in Ohio. But it got postponed. Hopefully that will happen in April. But it's I think that's pretty much there's nothing left on the calendar for me this year to train.
Yeah, same. Maybe we'll squeeze in a study group. Is that my ding or your ding?
That might have been my ding.
Okay. I normally try and look around for what I missed, but it's not a ding I'm accustomed to. Max, hello, sir. All right. So somebody asked me, and this isn't even one of the questions, had asked me what my favorite class was of the year.
Oh.
And they didn't specify to me I said, sounds like a great topic for the live chat. They didn't specify like best class I took or best class I taught.
Oh, I think I would bet that they're probably asking about took.
Well, this person asked was a student, but he was asking an instructor. So
Yeah.
he was a student in a class I taught more than one. So I didn't know if maybe he was looking for some, like, come on, tell me I was the best, teach.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, why don't you answer both?
Well, I'll, which one do you want to do first? Because we'll both answer.
Um, why don't we do favorite teaching first?
Favorite teaching. Well, probably earlier in the year when we did Fish 4, which was the all force on force. That was probably my favorite.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I like all the fish stuff. I really do. And I think when we moved off of the Blackbeards and just ran UTM, like when people would put the time in to be ready for that, I think it really warranted or it really exposed how accurate that block of instruction about how fighting in a house equals a very complex math problem. Like and we have that the handout someday there'll be a PowerPoint with that diagram. I think that that really illustrated that point so well that like that those final evolutions really made the best for the whole year for me.
Yeah.
And go, what do you think?
I'm torn. Fish 4 was like that was probably my favorite curriculum to be a part of, helping people figure out, like, being there to see students progress. Even this last one, the workshop,
I thought
I
the
mean,
workshop was good too.
it was a lot of fun. Like, I love that indoor, the quote unquote CQB stuff. That was something for me this year that I wanted to like get more familiar with, and I'm still just scratching it and going, oh, I need so much more of this to feel comfortable with it. But I think I've managed to grab some of the basics. I would say my favorite to teach was our Florida trip,
Oh, that was really good too.
because man, I loved hanging out with Jerry and oh, who else was in that class?
Andrew,
Andrew, yes, Andrew and
Javier,
Javier,
Turtle.
Turtle. Yeah, like that was, and then going right, I mean, I know it wasn't the same class, but going right from there to hang out with John for a bit, who I don't know if he's
Yep.
here yet, but usually he pokes in. But man, that was definitely a highlight of my year.
Yeah, it was really good down there.
It's like,
And I kind of wrapped that up. Like I tossed that together with the Tennessee trip. I know you had already flown home, but
yeah,
like, because that to me, it was the same, little piece. And like having, and you missed it, but having Biggers and Tim in class as students at the same time,
yeah.
that was actually really cool.
Well, that's why I
Both
love
of those guys were like my instructors before I became a full-time instructor, and then they were my colleagues. So it was very rewarding to have them just like show up as students.
it's
And
exactly,
Adam was there too. He's floating around here somewhere. So
yeah,
Adam always makes things fun.
that is exactly why Florida was special for me, because like Jerry is one of the people that I hold as top tier, somebody who's formed the way that I shoot and like the way I fight.
Yep.
And being able to be in that class, and then like, I don't know, he gave me some feedback from there that I was like, oh wow, like he said that he really enjoyed like the way that I helped kind of, point out some things to him, and I was like, man, that feels really good to like take somebody that I regard so highly that has some good feedback. And yeah, that was special for me, was having Jerry in that class.
He's special.
Special is a good word.
Hopefully we'll see him in Florida again on the next trip.
Yes, in February.
He's working his schedule. He's going to be at Sunny's the weekend before, so he's trying to make sure everything works to come on over.
Oh, cool.
Javier, that's great to hear that Mary's doing so awesome.
Yeah, and that was I get really jazzed by classes that have first time students in them. Like
Yep.
that's I know a lot of trainers get caught in the I want to teach the advanced stuff. I want to go faster. I want students that I don't have to, coach on the minute things. I'm weird. Like to me, I've always really enjoyed the first time student stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And while I don't think it was Mary's first time in a class, or maybe it was, but like just seeing people who aren't comfortable progress from day 0 to day 2,
Yeah.
and see them get more confident in themselves. That's really all we do. Like at the end of the day, the skills are quite simple, but like helping somebody unlock themselves to get
Mm-hmm.
more comfortable with it, to know that they can do it, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. She was awesome. She can come back to anything. I mean, Javier can come too if she wants to bring him, but
Yeah. Plus, they were exceptionally awesome at letting us crash with them.
yes, yes, awesome hosts. Um, Javier really is a swell dude, even if he did clean a gun of mine once.
See, we're breaking some rules though because he's here and we're talking nice about him.
He may have checked out. We don't know.
Max says he's starting out next year with the bug out primer. Awesome. I've got a few bags for our bag day, as I'm calling it in my head.
Yep, bag day works. Yeah, I don't even have a bug out primer. I'm not sure. I hope he means the go bag primer.
Yeah, it's the go bag primer.
Because the bug out primer is a whole different thing.
Yeah, which you also haven't had in forever.
I know. I should get another one of those in.
We should get on the seminars. People seem to like things like that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a fan as well. So Turtle liked the Florida class, fantastic class, instructing students back in training for a 6-year gap. Damn, 6 years. Well, and look at that. He's coming back again in February.
Yeah, that turtle guy's pretty all right. I liked him.
Okay. So then the next question, favorite class of the year to take. And I don't even remember, like now I'm not sure when I took some of the classes. Like, I don't think the the SIG Armorers class, that wasn't in 2023, was it?
No, that was 2022.
Was Sons of Liberty in 2023?
Nope, that was 2022 as well.
Okay. It's hard
because
for me to.
It's funny because I had to pull up I'm nerdy. I keep a resume of my training and it's a spreadsheet.
Oh, a spreadsheet. I have one too. It's a Word document and it has no dates on it.
Well, I made it a spreadsheet so that I can automatically calculate my hours.
Oh.
Just because I'm curious. But yeah, those were all last year.
Well, I have no doubt how to answer this question. I know you and I are going to have separate answers. I know because the class I'm going to talk about, you weren't there for. So had you been, our answers may have been the same.
Oh, the Orion class?
Orion training group, 3-day Force on Force CQB class. It was OTG had been on my radar for a little while. So like it was going to happen. I didn't know what it was going to be. Didn't really make a lot of difference. I wanted it to be a CQB class. The fact that it was more force on force than they had been doing, because a lot of their classes I saw posted were 2 days, and it was force on paper. And this was a 3-day with a lot of force on force, about half and half. So that worked out better because I do love me some force on force, although I like force on paper just fine. So I got to check that off, and how I imagined it would be, it was better. And that's rare in the training community, that like you get an idea of what a class would be like and it's better, especially when you like expecting it to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So that was my best one of the year as a student. Which, if you're watching this, that is a wholehearted endorsement of go take some training with them. What you got, sir?
All right, so there's a bit of a preamble on this because I'm very torn. because this was probably one of my best training years. Probably in thanks to starting the whole bulletin thing and really getting to connect with a bunch of trainers. So I just did a quick tab here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I trained with 8 different trainers this year, 7 of which I have never trained with before as a company.
Wow.
There's only one that I actually trained with from previously, which is Sunny, which was also awesome. So like Iron Forge Consulting, First In with Gino, Haley Strategic,
Yep.
Green Line Tactical.
Oh, that was so good.
Yep. Definitive Training Solutions.
Always good.
And Praelectus Training. So like I've trained with some of those trainers before, but as a company, like I'd never taken one of Zach's classes before. So it was like my first one with Zach, my first one with one of Jay's classes. So like that's real, like that's very different for me than like previous years in terms of like, hey, I really spread it around and tried to like train with as many different people as possible, which is definitely one of my goals. I would say that my absolute favorite class of the year had to have been the 5-day executive protection class with Jay.
Yeah, that was great.
Mainly because, and I learned a bunch of cool shit. Like it was a great mix of, a day of shooting, 3 days of, information, like a bit of a lecture with some practical practice in the afternoons, and then a final day of like, hey, we're going to do mission. Well, we mission plan throughout the week, but then let's execute these missions. Let's do some movements as a team. I get my jollies off on that. Like that's my favorite thing to participate in as a student, is that kind of like small unit tactics / teamwork type stuff. That was awesome. And then on top of it, I got to hang out with all of my best friends for like 5 days straight at my house.
Yeah, you can't read that.
It was like the perfect week ever. So it's hard to top it, but like that's why I had to preface it with like, I trained with a bunch of awesome people this year, and I really loved every single one of them, but that one was special. Plus I was hosting and getting Jay up here and, just trying to get the word out about him. And we got, 6 dudes to take a 5-week or 5-day class. I think that's, that was something that I think was really awesome.
And we know how hard that is by itself.
It's hard to get 3 people into a 2-day class.
It is.
So another nerdy thing, I had something that I didn't even notice happen this year with this spreadsheet that I'm looking at. Somewhere about 66 training hours ago, which happened this year, I find like I passed 1,000 hours of training.
Yes.
I had no idea it was coming. It's like one of those things where you look down at your odometer and you're like, when did I pass 100,000 miles? Or 200,000 in the case of a Toyota.
Well, I caught mine because I had been paying attention for quite some time. And that trip was even longer than it was supposed to be, because I drove 2 hours towards fucking Texas before I had to turn around and come back to my house. So it was supposed to be like somewhere in West Virginia. Instead, it was in Pennsylvania, because I hit the Maryland border and had to turn around and come home. And then turn around, like I was home for like 10 minutes and picked up what I forgot and turned around and went back south.
Yeah,
and then hit 200,000 miles.
Can't forget the masks.
Can't forget the mask. Now we're going to shoot each other in the face. All right.
I'm not the only weirdo. Looks like Adam uses a spreadsheet as well.
Yeah. I saw that. He's a weirdo too.
I bet you his is up there pretty high too. He trains a lot.
He probably thinks it should be higher, and most people would be envious.
Yeah. My seltzer is very pressurized.
Now, we were talking about like all these good classes we took. And every once in a while, someone goes to a class and they don't have a great experience. And I know one of my moderators on here had a fucking terrible experience at a class and was very vocal, publicly vocal about it. And the training community seemed to brush it off, sweep it under the rug, et cetera, et cetera. And apparently, the character in question who gave her such a terrible class is up to his old tricks again. And over on the active self-protection guy,
John something.
Yeah, something Corellian or something like that. I don't know his name. He and I don't get along. I know everyone's shocked. Someone I don't get along with. He recently shared something on his Facebook. Oh, look, there is the link about the instructor in question being back up to his old tricks. And I thought it would be wise to share that. And our moderator at large has shared the Facebook post that he made. I actually had to go use an alternate account to go read it because we had blocked each other some time ago over people that carry knives. I was right. I'm just going to go out on the limb and say it. I don't remember the details anymore. So, I mean, chances are I was right. But since the word is out there, I thought, oh, you know what? I should use my little bit of influence to spread the word as well. And and I asked our moderator at large if she would share the link, and she did. And I appreciate that. And all of you who are watching this should click that link, the Facebook link, and go read John Correa's, probably not Korea, that's a country, but how do you pronounce his name?
That's how it's spelled, Korea.
I know, it just sounds like I'm making fun of him.
Korea?
Ain't at this point.
We'll go with Korea.
So there is that. Some people have bad experiences. And now moving on to happier times because we're getting more rum and less apple cider in me.
Yeah, it's a rather incendiary post.
It is. It is.
Yeah, for someone who's, seems pretty religious and forgiving. There's not a lot of forgiveness in that.
Well, there is something that maybe he and I have in common. I don't forgive anyone, like ever, really.
No.
I just hold on to it till I'm fucking bitter and dead. So speaking of classes, someone had mentioned to me in person the last week about, hey, are you going to host fill in the blank next year? And the answer is nope. I don't even matter who fill in the fucking blank is. It could be like fill in the blank. And the reason is, like, we're running out of fucking time. I'm putting together for the Tremis Dynamics schedule, like the last things for the end of next year. And it isn't that I don't have a ton of friends in the industry that I would love to get up here. It's that they need to be talking to me sometime before, the weekend that they'd like to show up. So while something may happen, it'd be like, I consider anything at this point up to like Q3 of next year to be last minute. And because it takes so long to fucking organize some things, like you just can't always wait to the last minute. Maybe folks that have their own facilities, that's easier to do. But there is stuff happening up here that, like, I reminded them, and I'll remind you all. Combat art training. Andrew is bringing Jay with him to do the patrolling class in July up here. Sunny is coming up here in the end of July, like the couple days after Andrew and Jay, and he and I are doing a joint class together. I'm hosting someone after the muster. I just can't announce a name yet because it ain't all finalized. And that's all I got. Mike, I know you're working on hosting some people down in your neck of the woods.
Yep.
It's just for, like, when people are like, oh my God, like, Are you not bringing Zach out? Zach's more than welcome to come out. He also doesn't need my help to come to the range that I use because he knows the range as well. So he can always call and schedule stuff without my like going to work on his behalf. If he just says, "Hey, I'm going to be in Sugarloaf on July 83rd," okay, well I got a spare room for you, and that's that. But so no, there's been no falling outs with anybody, and nobody's not welcome. I wish they had been talking to me already.
Yeah, it's I can attest to the fact that it's difficult to find holes in the calendar to pick dates for getting traveling trainers up this way to host.
Yeah.
So I have one coming up in March. Radio Made Easy. I'm finally getting Evan up here, and it just so happens to be on a weekend that we don't have a class. So
Yes.
which is also nice because I get to go to it.
You get to go to it. I will be in a different class, but it is a not class I'm necessarily looking forward to. But
is that Act 235 thing?
Yep.
Oh, no wonder it was open for that weekend.
But in order to check off for a certification, I got to go do it. So I've only been trying to get into that class since 2009.
Yeah, and then also trying to get Chuck Peoples up here from Homestead Medical. Hopefully at some point in the spring, if we can find a weekend to do it.
The good news about up here, I mean, depending on where people are from, is our summer isn't terrible. The problem is our winter fucking sucks.
Yes.
And then you get the opposite, like, we're going to Florida. We're going in February, which should be ideal weather, because if we went in July, we'd all die.
Mm-hmm. And it's also finding facilities too for people that want to do things. So like, I don't know, I got a lead. Hopefully I'll see if that pans out this weekend on some night shooting, in which case I would love to reach out to dudes at like, Orion, Don Edwards at Green Line, and then try and find some dates to bring them up here.
Yeah.
That isn't all the way out in fucking Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And expensive, because like the range, Ben Franklin range, is absolutely positively the most expensive range I've ever even looked at renting, which means the cost of the class has to be commensurate with that. Like, I get it, but it makes it difficult.
Oh, Alpha Charlie Concepts is here.
You made it. We talked about him earlier.
Yeah. Only complimentary things, though.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't here to hear it.
Uh-huh.
Adam says we're basically in Canada. There's a whole state between us and Canada.
Well, there's that little bit that touches the lake.
True.
That is like a direct shot to Canada.
Yes, if you're swimming. If you're swimming, we touch Canada.
Well, technically, none of the states up there touch Canada, right?
Well, the bridge goes across the river in New York.
Yeah, what's the difference between a bridge and
swimming across the lake?
Swimming across the lake. Same.
Same.
RJ, hello, sir. Canada equals snow Mexicans.
Excuse me, guys. Looking through my list here of notes. Some of the notes are weeks and weeks old. Like it says, introduce the small unit immersion class for Del Rio. I don't have a whole lot more to talk about that, but Mark and I were talking a little bit today about the immersion class up here in PA.
Mm-hmm.
Still narrowing the window down for dates on that, but
have you even announced that yet?
Like, I've been hinting at it. I've told the name, and I even gave a class description over for patrons behind a paywall. But
right.
But yeah, kind of like soft leaked it during the Minuteman Go Bag primer announcement. RJ, yes, Dynamic Week is on the calendar. No, don't ask me when it is. Oh, RJ, the immersion is only 3 days. 3 long days, like probably an 18-hour day, a 24-hour day, and then like a 10-hour day. And it'll be well after Dynamic Week. Javier wants to know about your silencer.
Well, I can tell you that not much progress has been made on repairing it.
Looks like my ex-wife.
um, I will say that when I get in touch with the higher up people that make decisions over at Dead Air, things tend to happen all of a sudden. But in between those moments where I don't want to hound people and I'm dealing with the customer service team directly, that seems to go glacially slow. So, yeah, I'm still waiting about a month and 5 days right now for just the RMA information to send the can in. So.
We were teaching fish up at Roll Call on Saturday. Stephen brought it up, and a rep from Dead Air, a sales rep, was there demoing shit at the range. I did not go out and talk to them. Did you chat at them?
I did. I met Tim Oric. I think he's he's like the East sales rep for Dead Air. Except like he was super nice. And that's I know sometimes it's easy to take like the very incendiary approach of being like, oh fuck Dead Air, and the chemo cans or whatever. Like, yeah, like things went bad with the stuff, but like when I talk to individual people, it's like I can't be super angry. Like I'm of course disappointed with the stuff, but like I don't want to like hate on them too much because the people have been nice. So like I care more about that than the stuff.
That's
so
totally
it's a company, they have flaws. They're obviously working through some shit. Like they had a rough year, and I can forgive that a bit, but at the same time it's like there's some problems I hope that they fix.
I know I was talking to Monsieur Becquet, and he was like, all right, if I'm getting a fucking can, like what, just tell me what one to get. And I went, oh.
Like, there's so many. Like,
and I said, so, there's a lot of features on cans. And if you were going to ask me what features I wanted, I gave him a list. And he was like, great, what can has that? I'm like, none. Oh. Yep. Sorry. The closest on paper is that the Cobalt Kinetics one that they're not even making, the other companies make them for them, CSG. And but it seems to be an awfully short can, which means I probably wouldn't be happy with the sound reduction because it's essentially a K can. So, but it's super light, titanium, direct thread, it's flow through or whatever they call it. And I was like, oh, those are features I want. And man, I wish it was a 6-inch long can instead of like a 4 3/4. But also I haven't seen it anywhere but on paper. And I was like, this is bad when all I can find is shit on paper that I would call like the one I'm gonna go get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I had to put money down on a can right now, it would be likely the Ventum from Huxworks.
Yeah, it seems pretty slick. It's not light, but
no, it's not. It's just there's trade-offs with everything. But I just like the features on it. Like it's not as light as the other ones, but like you said, there's a list of things that are the like I want all of these things. Does everyone hit all of them? No, but I like I have, and this is the hardest part about cans. How do you have personal experience with them? Because you have to wait 8 months to get one.
Yeah.
So I wish I could tell people like, oh, well, like, get this one because I have experience with it and it's good. I've only used 2 can companies, Dead Air and OSS. And OSS became Huxworks, and the 556K can has been great. So I have some experience with them. I trust them, I guess, like as much as one can with getting one instance of one item. And that new Ventum looks like it's just clever. I like clever.
It's
It's
I got to shoot it. The local shop, they took theirs out to the range because they wanted to. They go out and use everything new can wise that comes out. They get one from the shop and they go use the fuck out of it
mhm.
to collect data. I don't know if they end up being like then selling them to like any of the store employees or because like it would be rough to sell a pretty used hard can. I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe they'd knock some money off. I never asked what they do with them after they beat the crap out of them, but they invited me out and I got to shoot the Ventum. And man, I was it's pretty high on my list. If they make one with a 5.56, so that maybe it quiets it down some, uh, I'd be pretty stoked. And it's not heavy. I said earlier it's not a light can, but it ain't a heavy can either.
I would bet that'll be like next in the
I would think it's coming.
yeah, the path for them.
Yeah.
RJ, I have also heard that the RC3, that's a Surefire can, I believe, is a flamethrower. Like they did something with the engineering on that can where it amplifies the actual gases coming out of it and turns it into a giant flamethrower.
Nice. Oh, that's the one where they were saying don't use the closed tine suppressors.
Yeah, like you can't. It's just like, oh well, it doesn't. It amplifies the muzzle flash if you use the wrong muzzle device. It's like that's inside of a can. That shouldn't do. Like, I mean, I guess there's physics and shit, but if your muzzle if your can is dependent upon the muzzle device that it's on, maybe you need to not have those other muzzle devices. I don't know.
Well, Surefire already has like what a half a dozen or so different
Oh yeah,
muzzle devices, and I assume maybe it fits other people's too. I don't know.
maybe it's probably an open format mount or whatever. I have seen the light when it comes to quick disconnect cans. I don't even have one, and I'm a fan of direct thread. Oh, I do have a direct thread can. I have a dead air mask.
What's that? The 22?
The 22 can.
I also have a 22 can. That's direct thread.
Yeah, it's the way to go.
Yeah, turns out it's not that slow of a disconnect.
Yeah, it's.
And I don't really disconnect it ever. Like as long as it isn't as ultra slow connect, I guess. Even if it was pretty slow. I mean, I don't need a tool for it. That would be a bit annoying.
Yeah, when this one finally comes back to me fixed, my plan is to either find a welder, who I happen to know one, who will TIG weld the muzzle device into the back of the can for me to turn it into direct thread, or send it to that company that you sent me, Gary, that converts them for $200 something to the hub mount on the back, and then I'll make it a direct thread.
Yeah. All right. So that answered that question. I'm going up. I got all that listed. So now I don't know if Mike, you went through and looked at any of the submitted questions.
Oh no, of course not.
I shared the document with you like fucking last year sometime. So like you still have access to it, but
oh yeah,
doesn't mean that you can find it easy. But one in there, I'm interested to hear your answer to, and then the other couple. I don't even know if you'll have an answer for them. Although for one, I'm sure you'll have the same as mine or similar to it. So one of the questions, the written questions, was thoughts on the new solar Garmin GPS. So there is a handheld Garmin eTrex Solar something or other that has like two power modes, and on the low power mode, if you have it outdoors during the day, it will never die. Like it's forever running. And on the high power mode, it's like weeks before it needs a recharge. However, you cannot upload maps to the GPS. So no go for me. Yeah. It's got to have topos on it.
Yeah, you know what I call a long-lasting GPS device that has an e-paper screen that I can't upload maps to? A watch.
Hmm.
Like, essentially what they did was they took the Garmin watch, took out all the cool stuff about it being a watch, and then made it into a bigger device.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you couldn't upload maps to it until there was the no maps thing. I was like, all right, this could be cool. I want one to test it out. And then it's like, as soon as you can't put maps on it, forget it. There's no
So
point.
my hope is in the eTrex series, the eTrex 10, which is the little yellow one, you
Which is
also can't upload maps to. It's
yeah.
the $99 one. You got to go to the 20 series, the eTrex. Like I had the eTrex 20, but I think then the eTrex 22 is the.
I don't even think they make the 20 series anymore. The only ones I've been able to find are 30 series lately.
Oh. But regardless, they made a more budget model that had no maps. I'm hoping that the Solar series, like they'll release a level up that has maps, even if the battery life is worse because there'd be more things displayed on the screen at one time. That would be fine because it would still get really good battery life. It doesn't need to be permanently never die, and I'd rather it die after a month and have maps. So that was my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I don't know. My bet is that they will. It's unlikely that they will ever have a larger device that you could put maps on that works with that type of display, just because of how low resolution it is. Like, you can't display those like 25K or 24K or the 110K, whatever the fucking um the different detail level maps are,
Mm-hmm.
because the screen resolution is just the black and white. It's an e-paper screen basically. So the resolution's real low, the refresh rate is basically nil, which you don't need fast refresh rate for like walking with a
Yeah,
GPS map.
it's
So
not like I'm gonna walk off the screen.
yeah, it's a great idea. It's just whether or not they're gonna like, what type of map support is it gonna have? How much details in it? I'd love to try. Like, okay, maybe the maps on it are great. Maybe it's a useful piece of kit to like throw as a backup somewhere. Maybe,
Well, the
but
problem is it's $300.
yeah, and that's tough to swallow
And
as a backup.
for 200, I can get an eTrex 22X on Amazon right now.
And just carry some extra batteries.
Yep.
RJ asked, "What are the thoughts on the InReach Mini? Is that just the InReach communicator that like pairs with the phone? I think
I wouldn't know.
if it's just the communicator, I think I mean I've heard good things about them, but I use SpotX instead of InReach.
Same.
Just because they have a device that has a keyboard on it, and I don't want to have to pair like one communication device with another communication device just so I can type on it. Like, to me, I think that's a fatal flaw in those satellite communicators, is when they have to pair with a phone. Like, the whole point of it for me is that I want to not like, if the phone breaks, I still want to have like
Yes.
satellite communications.
So then the next question that was submitted: what is your number one class to go to that you haven't yet? And I don't have an answer.
You don't have an answer?
Nope. The biggest classes on my lists have been checked off, and I haven't put a lot of thought into like what is the crown jewel, what's the next crown jewel. I basically got everything checked off. Like the two biggest ones, one I kind of joked about, and the other one was the OTG class. But the one I joked about before that was years back. I said I want to take smash mouth pistol with Gib Tac training. Turns out Jay didn't call his company Gib Tac. I did, and he didn't have a pistol class called smash mouth pistol. I did, but your point was I wanted to take sorry guys, something from Jay that was of Jay's creation, and I did, and I wanted to get that OTG class, which hadn't been on my list as long, and since I got both those checked off this year, I hadn't put a lot of time into like what's the next one that is going to be the one that I'm really looking forward to. I haven't put no time into it.
I'm pretty sure I know one that's on top of your list that we've talked about at least previously.
Yeah, go ahead. Like, what do you think of?
Scout or
Yes.
from Brush Beater.
So
Like,
in my notes, I have that listed as I have like a gap, and it is at currently the top of my list.
see, I know you.
It just hasn't reached that same level as those other couple of classes in my ones. Although it's currently at the top.
Mm-hmm. It's that. So there's a whole host of things from Brush Beater that I'm like, man, I need to find motivation and people, like, hopefully people to take a trip with me, because I want to take their whole RTO series.
Yep. I
And
would see me taking that before the scout class, although I would rather do the scout class.
I know, and I think RTO, like the RTO, advanced RTO, and SIGINT class, I think would scratch my like, hey, I know something about this topic, and I would like to know more itch.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Scout, Recce, and whatever their third in the series of that one is, I think that would definitely scratch the I don't know anything about this itch, and so I'm torn between both of them. Whichever one works out with a calendar, I would totally go to.
Yeah, that's really going to be the key at this point. The when will be when his calendar and my calendar somewhat coincide.
Yeah, that's the hardest part about being a trainer is that you wind up scheduling classes when all the other trainers are training.
Adam would like a link to the scout class, but I don't have one handy.
That one's pretty high up on my list. I would say there is one class that has been pretty much top of my list for like 4 years. Just because everyone I know has taken it and said that it's one of the best classes ever. And that's ECQC with Craig Douglas. And I've never met Craig. I've never taken any of the shivwork stuff, but like everyone says that class is awesome, and I love the idea of how it plays with the transitional space between the full contact punchy punch and like okay the shoot stuff. It's like that whole gray area that probably is where any fight is going to actually happen.
Yep.
So I find it to be the biggest gap in my experience of like I'm sure I need that most out of things that I've heard of. But I got, man, there's a growing list, especially now that I chat with more trainers and I've been networking a lot. Like Night Fighter is very high on my list with Don.
Yep, I'll take anything with Don. He's such a great bat.
Or Night Aerial Target Engagement.
I will go so far as that seems very fun.
Yeah, I don't need it, but I would love to go check out a class with like shooting from helicopters in the dark.
Oh yeah. That's probably the only reason I would ever again get in a helicopter. So, like usefulness, I would say probably not so much for me because that would be the next time in one and hopefully the last time in one.
Likely the last time.
Yeah. So,
yeah, no, it's very, very low on the practical list, but very, very high on the man. That seems fun.
All right, I got a link for the scout course.
Nice.
It's for the one in February in North Carolina, which I'm not going to. I actually think I have something else scheduled that weekend, but there at least is a link to what's happening, and then they can find it from there.
Look at Andrew in there, poor hating. It's true.
I'd have to hate myself for being poor.
Yeah,
dude, I'm a firearms instructor. None of us make any money.
you got to like make stuff out of nylon to make money.
That's what I hear.
But I am making a goal of this year to make it down to Don's the summit. I
wish he had dates up already.
Yeah, because whatever's on the calendar for those dates is I'm gonna lobby hard to change if there's a conflict.
Yeah, it would be awesome if they pop up so that I could maybe change things before I post them or before people sign up. That'd be swell. Don Edwards, if you're listening. I know he's not, but still.
Well,
People
Andrew
that he knows are listening.
Yeah, Andrew, drop a note in Don's ear. Tell him to post dates for the next summit.
Yeah, he don't have to post them. If he just slides them my way, I'll keep them under wraps so that I can change my schedule if need be.
Right. So Gary, let me ask you a question.
Yep.
Along the same lines of classes, are there? I think it was last year we chose some gaps in our training where we were like, hey, I want to learn more about these things. I think I remember pointing out CQB as one of the ones that I really wanted to kind of dig into a bit more in the next year. Yep. Do you have a gap that you're thinking about, like, oh, that's something I want to dig into more?
Well, I actually would like to do a driving class. I just haven't looked into them deep enough to know which one I want to take, and they're not cheap because, well, the gear is expensive. Generally speaking, you don't use your car. Thank God I couldn't afford that. Like fucking up my own truck. I mean, it's gone 200,000 miles. I don't want to fuck that up. But like that's a gap that, I got a pair of testicles, so I assume I can drive well. I mean, it probably makes me a better driver than most people without testicles, but I wouldn't go so far as to say well. What about you for next year? I mean, obviously you ticked off a little CQB this year.
Yeah, I mean that's one that's just like you can't learn it like nearly enough in a year. I would say the one that I want to do is night vision. Like I took one official night vision class so far, and I'd like to try and focus on getting a few more of those in here, especially if I can manage to host some.
Yeah,
this way that would be awesome. But even so, like, prioritizing like the night vision summit or trying to find somebody who's doing a night vision class somewhere. That's something like I identify that as, hey, I like doing it and I don't do it enough. So I want to do it some more. And not just that, but practicing it too. I don't think we get to practice nearly enough anymore. So I'm trying to organize some people together, get some group chats going to kind of do some more study groups this year with night vision stuff.
Last question that was submitted, and relevant to me probably more so than you, although I think you filmed some of the video that I'm referencing. I know you filmed some of it. Follow up to the best gear from SHOT Show, because we're closing in on what are you looking forward to for next SHOT Show. The things that made my list for last SHOT Show, is there any sort of follow-up to those? And so I had to go back and watch the video again because like a few things popped right out. Like, this is great, that's great. I don't remember anything more about this. And I was like, fuck, well, what was on the list? So straight up, I got a list here. The Mantis rebar, I have not seen any more of since SHOT Show. And when I was at Mantis, we talked about things, but only kind of touched that rebar was a thing and not so much talked about it anymore. Gemtech's upper, it looks like it has promise, but I haven't seen one out in the wild or anybody I know has used one. I think it'll probably catch on if more companies make barrels for it and allow people to do a little more with that. I don't want to say platform because I don't want to sound like Travis Haley, but
system platform.
Yeah, like right now you're limited to a Smith & Wesson barrel. So, and it has like the shoulder that the gas block sits on it's still 0.750 shoulder. It's just longer than normal to accommodate what they're doing. And I think if some more people made the, long shoulder or whatever the fuck you would call that, It might help that take off a little bit. There was the S&S plate carrier. Don't know anybody that's got one. It's so expensive. I wasn't just buying one willy-nilly. The Mystery Ranch pack, I still want to try that pack out, but it's a 35, is it 35 liter? Maybe. And I have a pack here from Caramore that's the same size that's been working great. So I haven't found a need to just pony up for another one. What else was on there? Hand warmer from Spiritus. I'm not replacing my Eagle hand warmer. If I didn't have one, I'd buy the Spiritus one. The Hollow Sun thermal stuff hasn't been
seen anything. Yeah.
Peltors, the Comtac 7s, still haven't seen them anywhere since SHOT Show. Midwest AK stuff. I have my AK sitting right over there behind the camera, and I haven't done anything to it. So my plan was to jazz it all up. I just haven't got there. I didn't do any live fire shooting this year, so the AK certainly wasn't my priority. So no change on those. However, the things that we did, Z-Bolt was on the list, and LEP lights in hand, fucking wow! Like they should have been higher on the list.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Just straight up fucking wow. The Primary Arms Auto Live caps for all the different LPVOs. I have some. They're great. Work as I hope they would work. And like all my LPVOs now have it. And it makes everything Auto Live, or like what we're accustomed to calling Shake Awake, which is a Holosun trademark term. Like just absolutely what I thought it would do. Magpul, this is one that kind of threw me for a loop. I put the DACA grid up there, which you have, and it seems to be worked pretty good.
It's great. It's not even just pretty good. Like for a rifle case, like the least exciting thing about the world that we play in, man, it really tickles my socks. Like the fact that I can throw whatever I want in there, move shit around. Like I just did hunting this last weekend and threw my bolt gun in there, shifted things around. We flew to Florida. I had 2 rifles in there for Florida, 2 ARs, flipped it around for that with pistols and things. Nothing was like, it's all the good parts about having a customized like secrets, spy case with like the cutouts of the foam, but without having to like commit to the cutouts of the foam.
Yeah, I next time I fly with a rifle, I'll probably upgrade my Pelican to that before I go. I just don't know the next time I'm going to fly with a rifle.
Yeah.
But surprisingly enough, when we were there, I was so impressed with the DACA foam, and of the other things they showed, I absent-mindedly went, "Oh, that's a pretty cool looking thumb safety for AR too." Well, not my business. And as I told you guys a couple weeks back, a couple live chats back, a pair of them just showed up here from some fulfillment center. So I don't even know who to thank, but there were 2 of them here. And I was like, oh, I'll go ahead and put one on this new rifle I'm building. And it looks like the barrel looks like it's milled the same as all the other 90-degree safeties, the 60s on the other side. And I don't use the 60, so I have it on the 90. And I put that thing on a rifle, and it is the most like persnickety. Persnickety is actually a word. Most snickerty. It has more. It's like the click is better than every other fucking safety I've ever felt on any gun. And I was like, oh, I only put this on because it was free. And both of those are mounted, and eventually all my rifles are going to get switched to them just because I like how they feel so much. That shocked me because it wasn't something I was looking at even getting, other than I thought it looked cool. And then, damn it.
Yeah, Magpul is one of like, I don't really have a lot of things, like specific things that I want to like see follow-ups on at SHOT, because I just haven't seen a lot of the press releases yet of what people are putting out. And but based off of what they released last year, I'm probably most excited for Magpul because they did a whole host of like lead up to SHOT, like we're releasing
They
this
did.
information on this thing, and most of it was pretty dang cool. And like their booth's really good, and like that's I'm sure I'm gonna go check out the Magpul booth and like whatever kind of cool thing they have this year.
Yeah, I'm. It'll probably in a couple weeks leading up to it, we'll start getting some info about what they're going to show, and I'll probably get more excited about what they got. The only thing I didn't like was, like they showed 12 things or whatever. In the last one, they finally started shipping in like October. So, like, if you're really stoked about something, that'd probably be the last thing on the list.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Andrew asked, can you explain your setup for a Z-bolt being used up close? And for me, this is easy. I just put that flashlight on there, and when I turn it on, it burns a hole straight through their chest and cauterizes it as I go. So I don't really have to do anything other than just point and push the light on. Also, it just happened light in very close environments. You don't even have to really aim with it. You can put that big white dot right on their chest and then shoot, and it pretty much aligns right with the big white dot.
The horseshoe reticle in my prism sight is perfectly aligned with the hotspot of the Z bolt at the furthest distance in my house. So, like with a room, an unoccupied room, me at one end of the room to the south and shining it at the room to the north, with in the middle empty room. It lines up perfect with the horseshoe. So now what I do for inside, I have the screw-in diffuser and I just leave it in.
Yep.
It still gives me a great hot spot for distance and enough spill for seeing every room in my house pretty well. There are flip decides. I have a flip decide. The flip decide I have is the same diffuser angle as the screw-in. And since I liked it so much with it just flipped forward, I just leave the screw-in in. So if somebody out there is looking for a flip decide, I have an extra.
Yeah, I think the screw-in diffusers is there's a reason it's a screw-in diffuser. It's because it's probably the best option for pretty much everyone. The only one where I was like I saw some sort of noticeable benefit of taking it off was beyond 300 yards. And if I have to possibly shoot something beyond 300 yards at night, I probably have a second or two to unscrew the cap.
Probably correct.
Or I should be moving.
Now, the best piece of gear I have got this year, whether it be for T&E, sample, or purchased, absolutely was the Goober's chest rig. It has been.
I bought all my patches or my pouches for it for when it comes back in stock.
It wasn't even in the fucking list. That came out of nowhere. And I was real intrigued with the design when I saw it. I almost joined the whatever they call their Patreon because they get like to buy stuff a day early so that I can make sure I bought it before it went out of stock. I didn't go to that level to do it. But when it came in stock for like us regular people, I was like, okay, I'm going to get one. And I'm pretty fucking stoked about it. So yeah, that was that's all the questions on the list. I do have to remember to start putting some posts up about going to SHOT Show and ask other folks
what they want to see.
What they want to see. Not that I'm necessarily going to go check it out, but it'll at least help me see things that are going to show up that I'm not aware are coming. Like Max, I think it was Max asked about the HRT flashlight last year, and I was like, HRT makes a flashlight? And that was like how I knew it was coming. And I checked it out and was like, because I already seen the Z bolt, so I was like, well, nothing's going to top this. Adam, I did not get the Magpul Tiger Stripe Sun shirt, so I don't know how good it is. I do have the tactical distributors, Tiger stripe sun shirt. It seems pretty okay, but I also just go out in the sun and, get a tan and stuff.
Apparently, the GBRS rigs are back in stock. Thanks, Turtle. My wife is going to thank you for yet another thing leaving my bank account.
It wasn't even my fault this time. And Turtle pulled a Gary Marr fucking play out of the playbook, ordered his, and then told you about it.
It is in stock. Damn it.
It's so rare, you can't really afford to wait. Someone tell Josh, too. He should order.
Stop it.
A good buddy, Josh, I sent him a text right after I got mine and said, hey, GBRS, but M something, MCR maybe, modular chest rig, whatever fuck it's called. I said, you should just order one the moment it comes in stock.
Because he's going to want it.
Or you can wait till next time I see you. You can look at mine and then you'll order one whenever it's in stock. Just saving you some time. All right. So that's everything that was on the list of shit we had to do. We're at 1 hour and 6 minutes. We timed that pretty well.
Oh, we did it again. Blew past your 1 hour mark.
Oh, it's all right. Like oftentimes I'm like 42 minutes, close enough. Bye.
Yeah.
I figured it's been an hour because I can hear Klaus outside the door. Like he's reminding me it's time, human. Come pay attention to me. He wants to know where his royalties are because I used him in the thumbnail for today's Liveshat photo.
Oh, if we had to give royalties for people in photos.
Yeah. All right, so I guess that's what I got. What you got going on? Let's see.
Well, there is a new podcast sweeping the training world. That
sweeping,
yeah, or like dribbling in. Either way. Yeah, just been doing a link
for it.
What's that?
You got a link for it down there? You can post.
Do I have a link for it? It's on my YouTube channel and on Spotify.
Some people probably are watching this on your YouTube channel.
They might be. A couple of them. I think Turtle is.
I can see who's on YouTube, but I don't know which YouTube. Oh, is that the one that says paired?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, he's paired on Facebook.
When it's paired, I think it's that might just be Facebook. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know who might be looking. Probably nobody watching on my channel.
I don't know. You bring in all the class. I bring in all the riffraff.
But yeah, we've been doing a lot of the Berm Limits podcast about once a week. The first episode I think is the most popular with
so it should be.
Yeah, I mean it's got Jay Gibson in it. Like that's really the only reason. Not that you're not a controversial figure in the industry, but yeah, we've been having fun. Me and Max have been chatting each week about we try to do a format where we're doing the first part of it's just news. Like we're talking about like news articles related to the gun world, couple of those, and then we get into some sort of discussion topic or an interview. So we just released one yesterday with my wife.
I saw the thumbnail pop up. I haven't had time to listen to it yet.
Yep. And we asked her about her experience running the Philadelphia Marathon and staying safe as a female while running and exercising and what it was like in Philadelphia for the day. So it's, we just try to have fun conversations. And
did she feel as safe running that marathon as she did the 5K in Emmaus?
Well, I think, and she hasn't said this directly. However, I think there is a lot of mental block that happens during like the marathon because she's like, there was nothing but great feels and good times with the marathon. And of course I'm the guy that's like, no, that was a dangerous time. We were in Philadelphia and that was uncontrollable. And there's 30,000 people, and like that's where bad people are. And of course I'm the one that's like, hey, we need an emergency rally point. Make sure you have your phone, turn it off if the power levels get too low, meet me here. And like,
Yep.
I'm going nuts
If you
because
see
I'm like,
any fucking pressure cookers, like abandon the race.
yeah, like if you see a backpack anywhere, leave. And basically coaching her through it, like, hey, you don't have to do this, right? Like if you ever get like a bad feeling in the gut or on the hairs on the, just run the other direct, like run sideways, not in the direction everyone else is running, like different direction. And so I'm of course like not a nervous wreck, but just the one that's like the realist. And like she's just like, yeah, this is the greatest thing ever. There's people cheering. Oh my god. And like, there's security at the Philadelphia Marathon where like she had to go through metal detectors to start the race. And as soon as you leave the corrals, there's no such thing as metal. Like it's an open course. Anybody can walk anywhere. And I'm like, that's the stupidest thing ever. So she, of course, goes through it and complies. And I'm like, well, I can't go in there because I need to have all the stuff in case shit happens.
Yeah.
So I did wind up getting in later, but that's because some gates just opened up and hey, look, I could just walk in there
with this rifle and a bazooka.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, this security is really good. But yeah, I think there was a bit of a mental factor for her where it was all sunshine and rainbows, and whereas I don't think anybody has ever been as safe running as when we were executive protection detail running through town with a 3-car move and then a body man on a bike following in close protection behind her.
Plus Jay.
Well, that really blanketed the whole city in protection like Batman.
Yeah. Jay, who has a new nickname. It actually it's an original nickname. It predates the nickname everyone knows him by some time. But I'm not going to announce it to the world. But I did buy Jay as a Yule gift a Peltor wrap and a name tape with his new nickname or old nickname on it. He knows it's coming. It is in the mail right now, somewhere between here and him. So when he gets it, I'll let him put that out there for the world to see.
Yeah, he's a funny cat, man. I loved hanging out with him for the week.
Yeah, you and me both.
I was a little teary-eyed when he left. I'm like, oh, we just got used to having like Uncle Jay hang out around the house.
Yeah.
For
I know, because he stayed here after the muster for like 2 more days.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is great. I was in the most excruciating, miserable pain, flip-sided with opioid-induced comas. And I still managed to like treasure the 45 minutes a day that I could hang out with him in between the pain and the fucking whatever Perca things they were giving me for the pain.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So anyhow, we're at 1 minute and 13 minutes. We're going to wrap this thing up. What's the calendar look like? It's going to be one of these in 2 weeks. I don't think I got anything going on a Wednesday or next week.
Oh, I thought this was the wrap up for the year.
Well, it's the training wrap up for the year.
Oh, training wrap up. Okay.
Yeah, because all the training's done.
Because we'll have to have at least one before SHOT Show to.
Oh yeah.
Anything that we've seen before SHOT.
Yeah, plenty of time for more live shots. I just want to make sure because I missed the last 2 weeks for travel. Make sure there wasn't something next week.
Is there Yule training this year?
No, I hadn't scheduled one. We canceled last year because I was in the ER the night before with a dog bite to the testicles.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So like I was texting to people from the fucking emergency room at like 10:30 at night. Hey guys, I don't know when I'm getting out of here. We might have to postpone tomorrow. Andrew says we might be able to have Jay down for the Florida class. I made sure Jay knew he was invited, and he said, well, I guess I got to come. So for Jay, that's a pretty fucking set in stone commitment. But yeah, so no planned Yule training. Although you never know, maybe I'll throw one out there. I wanted to do. I asked in the email, the newsletter I just sent out like 2 days ago, if people are interested in some sort of cool 12 days of Yule, something like a Tremis Dynamics 12 days of Yule, which is the winter solstice up through the New Year's Day. That's traditionally when Yule is celebrated, and doing something different each day, but I don't know what to fucking do. But that would give me one of the days as a Yule training.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a grand total of 7 days to figure out what to do for it. So,
I mean, that's when you work your best.
yeah, fuck it, we're doing this. Wait, what? Yep, too late. I already booked the thing.
Uh-huh. It's already happening. We're in it.
That's me. Oh, that's right. Crystal's house flooded the next day after Yule last year, or after the dog bite Christmas Eve.
Oh man!
And funny thing, I got the dog bite delivering a shop vac to somebody else whose house flooded, and their dog bit me. So when we went to Crystal's house with the other shop vac, like I knocked on the door, and the first thing I said was, "You didn't get a dog recently, did you?" No. Perfect. Here.
I'm not coming in.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. I'll see some of you next week. We'll do another one of these live chat things. If Mike's free and wants to pop in, we'll talk about something. If he doesn't, that's fine too. Or if we get some really cool special guests, we can interview them.
Oh,
I don't know who. You know who we should get? The guy who's probably watching this and can't figure out how to comment. We should get the bandit, Tim Morris, special guest.
Well, isn't he on like another live chat right now?
If he's doing a tactical response one, he might be.
I think I saw somebody mention before that he's on the tactical response one tonight.
Oh, because he said to me, "Hey man, those things the live things you do are pretty cool. I just don't know how to comment." And I was like, "What are you watching on?" He's like, "YouTube." What else could I watch it on? There are other ways. And he's like, "I just don't know where to comment." And I was like, "I've never really watched my live chat on YouTube, but I'm pretty sure on the side where the comments are rolling by on your laptop, there's a little block at the bottom, and you can type in it and hit enter, and your comment will pop up."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would be a big get.
All right, he's doing tactical response today, so maybe he'll be free out from them next week, and maybe we'll get him as a guest. I have to get someone to drive over to his house and help him set up his lab.
Maybe if there's ever a chance he might be up in Pennsylvania, we should get him on.
Oh, there'd be no doubt. No doubt. He ain't got nothing else to do. He should drive his ass up here.
Yeah.
I'll text him right now. Tim, be here next Wednesday for my live stream. Tim Morris, next. Be here at my place next Wednesday for groceries.
Groceries. Going out for groceries.
Live stream. All right. There, we invited him for dinner. We'll see how it goes. All right. So with that, time to pop smoke. And we'll see some of you folks later. Maybe.
Yeah.